I've been up since 5. I'm so tired. It's gonna get wild.
You're you're crazy, dude. I
I've got
just
a
couldn't do that.
5. Well, it's all
I
right. I
mean,
got
I
a
could, but
espresso.
not consistently, I guess.
Do you say espresso or espresso?
Espresso. I put in an X.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I was listening to YMH this morning, and they had the one girl on there, the coffee girl, that kind of went viral. I won't get into that part, but she's a barista in Toronto, and Christina said espresso, and
Yeah, she
then
says that.
and I get it. And then they're like, you should have a sign. And I started thinking, they kind of said something, and I was like, oh, this is what every coffee shop should have. It should say espresso, like spell it with an X, and then basically cross it out and be like, hey guys, it's not espresso, it's espresso. I saw this through, I don't even know, it doesn't matter. Mr. Beast is going to be hosting a game show on Amazon. Did you know that?
I mean, no, I know now, obviously, but no, I don't know. What does that even mean on Amazon?
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm going to take this. So he is going to be hosting. So he's like the host of a
Yeah,
game
yeah,
show.
yeah.
He has creative rights, not like fully, but like he has creative parts of it that he's going to be putting his ideas into what the game show should be.
Okay.
There's going to be like over 1,000 contestants, and they're going to be giving out like $5 million worth of prizes. And the objective is to change the way, or he allegedly said, because I listened to him a little bit on podcast, is to change the way that game shows are done, but then also to break world records and all these records with the game show. It's Mr. Beast style, he's trying to do crazy, big,
Obviously.
elaborate, but it's on, I guess it's going to be hosted or budgeted by Amazon.
That's weird. Like, what I'm trying to figure out is how is it going to be distributed? I said that really weird. Distributed. There we
On
go.
Prime, Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but like, is it once a week? Is it just like, here's 10 episodes of this random game show that you've never heard of until today? Like, I feel like game shows, obviously, historically, have just been aired on live TV to see how well they do. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like I've never seen one where they just drop an episode of this random game show. You know,
Yeah. I don't know,
that's
man.
weird.
I didn't get into how they're going to break it down. I don't even know if they specifically, I mean, I'm sure they have somewhat of an idea of how they're going to do it. But there was another important concept about this is a lot of, I mean, you get the Jake Paul Tyson fight coming up. You got
Yeah.
a lot of, I guess, I don't say streamers, but social media people or YouTubers coming more into the mainstream, I guess that's the best way to put it. Is Mr. Beast the first one to do a show? And is it kind of like make or break? Can those type of creators create something in the mainstream media that people really get into that's not just like YouTube? Is the other thing they're talking about.
Well, I feel like, honestly, I feel like now, the last like 4 or 5 years, we are now in a shifting landscape of what is the mainstream media, right?
Yeah.
Because mainstream media is dying. And so they're bringing in people who are relevant to keep them from dying. And
Yeah.
so I think like, I maybe Mr. Beast is the first to do it. Maybe he's not, but I think we're going to keep seeing an evolution where mainstream media actually doesn't even exist anymore. And it's just bite-sized garbage content. If I'm being 100% honest,
Yeah. What's
or the mainstream, excuse me. I shouldn't say it won't exist because I think it will exist, but it won't be the mainstream
yeah,
anymore. It's
it
just going to
flips
be that
itself.
thing that's on in the background in some random, business,
Yeah. Well, it's just like when you say you were looking up the news, you get bored really fast.
Yeah.
It's
And it's not even the way the news was presented. It's just like it's the same stuff I see every day. You
yeah.
know, it's politicians doing things they shouldn't be doing. It's famous people doing things they shouldn't be doing, and then they just kind of talk about it and ramble on. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Doesn't really intrigue me.
It's like how creative are those news or whatever
Yeah, I
media
know.
being. It's just the same nonsense over and
Yeah.
over
And
without.
I have friends that literally like work for news stations, and they write stuff and they produce stuff, and they do everything they can to try and make it interesting. But they've also admitted sometimes there's not much to talk about, or they don't have the like resources to talk about something that's actually interesting.
Or they aren't allowed.
Yeah,
There's certain
exactly. Yeah.
parameters that this is what
Definitely.
we can talk about. We can't go
Yes.
outside of this. The creative bubble becomes condensed, and
Yeah.
I think that's why Mr. Beast. One of the big parts about him doing the show was basically I have to have some creative component to this, or I'm not doing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that makes sense. And what I'm also curious about is every episode like a a winner per se? Like I'm intrigued by the format of the game show, because if it's the same format every time, that's a game show. If it's different every episode, it's just YouTube on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean?
that's
Like
yeah,
if he does a different challenge every time, then that's his YouTube channel on Amazon Prime, you know?
yeah. I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting. I'll watch it. I haven't watched a lot of his videos lately. Feel like he's doing a lot of just really elaborate long ones. He hasn't. I mean, he obviously does
I
well.
I just don't watch Mr. Beast. And it's
Yeah,
no hate on him. I feel like, and maybe this is elitist to say, but I just feel like his content isn't geared toward me,
yeah,
if I'm being like honest. Like I find some of the concepts really intriguing, and like he's clearly changing people's lives, but for me it's like I kind of get the format of what he's doing.
yeah.
you know?
It's almost kind of rinse and repeat a lot of the same concepts, with the same kind of trope. I mean, they're
Yeah,
different videos, but it's the
but he also
same.
he also does it in a creative way for sure.
Yeah,
Like that's not me saying it's not creative, but it's just I know how the video is going to end typically, you
yeah.
know.
Well, there's kind of it's the YouTube world is, I think, in a lot of ways, the videos kind of, let's say Mr. Beast didn't exist at all, and then he tried to start doing those videos now, would it be as popular as it is now in comparison?
I
And
think it would be. I think it would be because videos now are formatted to be like a Mr. Beast video.
but is it because Mr. Beast is
And
Mr.
I
Beast?
think it's because of what Mr. Beast did. So if he never existed until this moment, he would be doing something revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean the just the whole ecosystem of videos, even TikTok,
I know
anything,
you're
it
I
constantly
mean,
changes.
and like you're in the middle of that now where you are making content and stuff, and I guarantee you're formatting it like him in a
Yeah,
way. In a way, you're like trying to editing style and even narrative of the actual video in a way has Mr. Beast influence behind it.
yeah, it changes. It changes so fast. It's really weird. And it's like the
We're
streaming
not
world.
gassing up Mr. Beast, by the way. He's good at what he does, but I am not like a fan or anything. I just can appreciate someone who's good at something. So
It's like vlogs now. Like Casey Neistat, you know who Casey Neistat is, right?
yeah,
He was huge for those
yeah.
years, and that style was fun, and I watched a ton of it. But he doesn't really do that style anymore, so I still watch his videos because he knows to adapt to how he does it. But I'm not
Mm.
going to watch a vlog of someone like, what are we doing? Daily vlog. I don't watch I'm no that's format's
I
almost
think
dead in
you
the
should
water.
become a vlogger. That would be entertaining.
I have
You at 5 a.m. You know?
I yeah, I have considered doing the like a Monday of how crazy my day is,
Yeah, I think that
and
would be kind of
just like a
fun.
one day on kind
Yeah,
of
like
Instagram
one
story.
time, just like,
Yeah,
hey, here's my day. I do think that would be interesting as an Instagram story. Be like, all right, 5, I'm doing this. 6, I'm doing this. 7, I'm doing this. 8, I'm running.
yeah.
9, I'm running.
It was like yesterday. If I pull out my Whoop strap, my strain, a strain that's over like a 15 is pretty good. Like I've done a day. And yesterday in the morning, I had Gene, and then after Gene, I had the field goal kicker, and then I call him Kicks, and then after Kicks, I had the firefighter. And during all three of those workouts, I'm when I do one-on-ones, a lot of times I'm unloading the bar, loading the bar. In other classes, there's no way I could do that. I would die.
Yeah, I know.
So I didn't even work out yesterday. I just did that. I had all my other classes. My strain was 21. It's like, what?
Jesus, man.
Yeah. And if you look at like, let's see if I can pull up the activity list. It's like activity from the activity at this point, activity at this point. It's like, how did you have so many activities?
Of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's wild. Yeah. But the day in the life, yeah, the vlogs. It's just
I
not a
think
thing.
you should do one. Straight up.
I would do it on Monday. I will. I've considered it, but then when it's 5
You
o'clock in the
start
morning,
filming it, and you're like, "Oh, this is awful. This is cringe."
well, no, it's more or less I get in the car at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Monday when the day I want to do it. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm too tired for this.
You don't want to set up the phone on the ground while you like do some random activity.
Oh, I would never do that. I would just take a picture of something and like that. No, we're not doing the day of the life of. There's a popular lady on TikTok that she does days in the life. She's like days in the life of being a mother to 4 boys, blah 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 blah. And then like she just like wake up, it's like chill out,
just rants off a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's wild and it's impressive, but it's also wild what she does. It's like I'll go back to the streamers. Even I said it, but then I stopped. Which podcast was I listening to? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But they were talking to a streamer. I don't know his name. He's #1 on Twitch.
Jinxie?
Yes.
I love Jinxie.
So
Jinxie.
He's #1 on Twitch at the time they're filming it. He probably still is now.
Yep.
Real popular.
Yeah.
And did you even know what he streams?
Yeah.
It's not video games.
Yeah. He streams Rainbow Six Siege. That's it. That's all he plays.
Okay. So he does Siege, and they were talking about the streaming world and how did he become popular. He still lives at home with his parents. He's young, making tons of money. His hands over fist money. And how streaming is kind of changing the way content is created from the standpoint of how he got big, but this just in general. And it kind of stems from, let's say he's on a stream and they're streaming for 9 hours a day. And when he's streaming for 9 hours a day, let's say the chat pops up some like big story. So I'm just going to make up a story. Let's say there's a story that LeBron James was in a car accident, something like that. So he immediately gets that content. And then while he's streaming, he can, or that news, he can just talk about it to his chat in general. And then that immediately gets clipped by all these people clipping stuff. And immediately, boom, it's out in less than. So then if you're a content creator that's trying to sit down and then talk about the news, that news is old. You're done. So it kind of like the whole news, like prepping something that's going to be news on something small, it's kind of challenging.
Yeah, you can't do stories that are breaking stories more than probably 2 days later, like a day later. If it's a breaking story or like something that's in the now. Now, if you're doing more of like an analysis of like the arc of something, or like like if you were making a video about the royal family, now they're in the news, they're a hot topic, you know, you could take your time a little bit because there's so much backstory behind this particular like thing that's going on. But if you made a video next week about it, it's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, you'll see it and everyone's seen it so much already. They're like, whatever, time done with that. And it makes it challenging. So you have to the breaking news, that's a good way to put it. Breaking news is kind of done. And it's also wild. I would say like back in the day with videos, for him, for example, part of him getting big is there's creators that they have their own page that all they do is clip other people's stuff that he's not even paying them to do it. And they're making a ton of money doing it.
Oh yeah. No, that's a huge lane in TikTok, is like the dual screen video, and it's a clip of some popular person and then some random video game on the bottom. And if people can just post that and make a lot of money, even though it's not their clip.
Yeah, and you would almost think that it would be copyright infringement. I don't know where you can delve into that, but
there's some sort of legal garbage going on there for sure.
But then Jinxie's like, all right, cool. I have 600 people clipping my stuff, so now I'm everywhere and I get bigger. Now I'm making a ton of money. it's almost the only way to grow that fast is from that.
Just let him do that too.
Yeah, just let him have it.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard him talk about his success. He frequently talks about how he spent the first year of streaming to one person. Just like 365 days. He streamed every single day to one person. And he was like, that's kind of what helped me get here, is just having the mentality of keeping on going, no matter who's watching and like how many people are watching or whatever, which I think is interesting. And it's also the consistency for him. So he streams from, I believe it's 7 p.m. to midnight every day, 5 hours. That's it. And it's because it's peak time, right? People are off work, depending on where you live, right? And he likes to keep it short and simple. And then the next day he's there. And people have pulled up, because you can see stats of streamers, and he has streamed every single day.
That's wild.
Which is wild. He doesn't take time off.
Which it also probably helps with when you're streaming to one person. It helps with you're trying to find different ways of staying entertaining. So your energy levels. What are you talking about? What do you do? How do you draw people in? It's actually Joe Rogan talked about. I can't remember the band. I wish I knew the band off the top of my head. They were at some kind of event that no one knew who this band was, and there's a bunch of just kind of just not gonna say rich people, but high end people. And it was for like a birthday party. I think it was maybe Dana White's birthday party or something.
Crazy.
The UFC. And crazy. There's only like 50 people there, but it's a band that they've played like they were in an arena. And it was like how wild, how committed they were playing the same style if they were doing it for thousands of people. So I guess that's probably kind of a way that Jinxie goes about it. Is one person
maybe.
Versus, it's
definitely. He's cool. I like him. He's a little wild, but I like him.
No, he's definitely wild. Well, he still lives with his parents, and they soundproofed his room because he's pretty loud.
Oh, he is so loud.
They soundproofed his room, which is like, whoa, it's pretty funny. And I was also listening to this finance podcast. I don't know. I listen to it every now and then. I know it's really weird. I don't even know. And I can't. And
I listened to a political podcast the other day, and I went, "Oh, cool, same stuff."
Let me see. I'm gonna pull out what the name of it is. Okay. It's got two pretty popular guys on YouTube. Actually, it's called the Iced Coffee Hour. They make good money, and they had Ludwig on. We're just streamers and YouTubers right now. I promise we're gonna go to March Madness in a second. We'll go to sports because we're not nerds. Sports. I'm just kidding. So it's called the Iced Coffee Hour, and they had Ludwig on, which you know more about Ludwig than I do.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Yard in a minute, but yeah, I know a decent amount. I used to be a fairly regular watcher.
Yeah, and so Ludwig is, I guess, first and foremost, he's a bunch of stuff because he's got tons of business. He actually has a bidet business, by the way.
Yeah,
if you didn't know that.
He's crazy.
They make bidets.
He's made his own one.
Yeah. Because he's so passionate about them. And he talked about it on the coffee hour. And he also talks about how he basically was having so much success on YouTube and all the other stuff that he was doing that he wanted to start a podcast to just make his friends rich.
Yep.
So he has The Yard, and that Patreon is in the top 10 in the world.
It's crazy. It is crazy. I haven't joined the Patreon or anything, but when they first started, they were like, we're going to do a Patreon only if you all sign up for it. Okay. So you all have to do this or else we're stopping the podcast. So they threatened their listeners to stop the podcast if they didn't sign up for the Patreon. And then within 40, 50 episodes, they were like, guys, we're top 10 on Patreon now. Sick. He's like, let's get to number 1. And I think they said if they got to, I remember this. They said if they got to top 5 or a certain dollar amount per month, they would shave all of their hair off. I think Slime, one of the people would get waxed entirely. And they made it to that, and they did a whole episode while he was getting waxed.
Ow.
So anyways, yes, the Patreon thing has been a long running, not even bit, because they're making so much money. It's just a thing that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean over $200,000 a
Yeah,
month.
yeah,
What?
yeah.
It's. I mean, how many people are? There's Ludwig
There's
Slime.
four.
There's four of
So
them.
there's Ludwig, Slime, Nick, and oh, I'm gonna feel bad for not remembering the last person. I'm gonna look it up so I don't feel bad. But anyways, yeah, there's just four of them. They bring on guests sometimes, but other than that, yeah, it's kind of normal. Aiden.
Okay.
So Ludwig, Nick, Slime, and Aiden.
Yeah, and they just divide that money between themselves, and I think they have a producer and an editor. So there's like six of them, and they just
Yeah,
like, all right,
but I will say Ludwig has another like company that there's probably more people getting paid from that pocket is my guess. I
well,
don't know that obviously, but
I think I remember on the Iced Coffee Hour because they asked him how he divided it. I think they just said it's the
oh
producer.
really? Okay.
Yeah, I think they just split it. I don't know how much of he takes from it, but it's still a crazy amount of money. And also,
Oh
just
yeah.
hey, I want to make my friends rich. Let's start a podcast, and then boom.
Yeah, dude. I think he's another interesting person, and we are not gassing up these people. It's just we're talking about him, I guess. But he's interesting too because he continues to talk about the day he will quit streaming. He's like, I know I have a shelf life
Mhm.
as a content creator, and I will only be relevant for so long. So he's doing everything he can to set himself up for the future. So he's making like media businesses and he's making production type companies, media production companies that he's able to not only run and set up, but he's able to get started so that they won't need him anymore.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. So he's trying to like build these things up so that he can kind of not be the center of everything once his time is up. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No,
You
he
know,
talked
which
about
I
that.
think did he talk about that on the pod?
Yeah, it was a big part of what they talked about
Yeah, yeah.
because he
And I
says,
think that's so like that's so intelligent in a way, you know? That takes a lot of awareness to realize that you're not going to be significant for that long.
yeah, well, especially in that, I mean, in that space,
Yeah, man.
it's one of those things. I also say especially way too often. Someone called me on that on a TikTok video, so we got
Especially.
espresso and especially. So especially, yeah. Someone called me on one of my bigger videos. There's like especially, and there's like a couple more people, but it didn't. No one ran with it. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank God it didn't get ran with. Yeah, no, Ludwig's a cool guy. He's interesting. That whole episode is definitely one to go listen to for uh, just knowing more about him. All right, March Madness has kicked off. We got the playing games happened yesterday and
Yeah.
today,
And
right?
on Tuesday, I think. Oh, yeah, I think it's today too.
Yeah. So then the
I'm
first
looking at
games
it.
are they tomorrow or tonight?
First games are tomorrow, I believe.
Okay, because this comes out a week
Let me
after
let
today.
me make sure. Oh wait, no. First games are today, dude. In like 2 hours.
Oh, I haven't made a bracket. We usually do a bracket with.
You gotta go.
No, I'm not making one. I don't care.
What? You want to make one right now?
No, I don't know anything. I don't. I just
Neither
only
do
thing.
I.
Well, yeah, I'm not making one. Making
One,
one
man.
on the
Yeah,
podcast.
that's what I'm thinking.
No, we're not doing that.
That's fine.
That'd be wild. I should make one. We last year we did one with the group where everyone was, and I think Aaron won. I believe
Yep.
so. I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
We didn't do it this year. What we doing? Everyone's behind.
I don't know.
And we messed
You got
up.
time to make one. You
Well,
get
after
off this. You
well,
better
I
make
could do it
one, I
after
think.
this. We're only going to go for another 20 minutes
that's
or
true.
so. We can do one. I can do one after.
Do you know who's like good in college basketball?
Do I?
And I don't ask that from a place of better than or greater than.
No, you definitely should because you know way more than me.
Oh, dude. When I tell you, when I saw Houston was a 1 seed, I said, "Oh, I didn't know they had a competent basketball program." You know?
I just know UConn is number 1
Yep.
overall seed, and they won it last year.
Yep.
That's all I know.
UConn, Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina.
Yeah, I was gonna say UNC is usually typically up there, depending on the year. But yeah, that's all I know. And I also know the things that I wrote down about this that has nothing to do with the actual game.
Go ahead.
The fact that, and this is kind of a a pretty common story, but we're going to take it out of the common range here. It's been something off and on where the money in sports and
The
these athletes not getting played.
money.
March Madness, in those 3 weeks of the NCAA tournament, the NCAA stands to make over $1 billion. How insane is that as a concept?
It's a lot of money.
3
I
weeks.
wonder how much. Well, I wonder how much they make per year. Like how much? What percent of the total amount is that? You know,
Yeah, I have.
it would be interesting.
I don't know, but it always goes back to the athletes aren't making anything. What I saw a video of the coach pulls up in a new Corvette, but the kid pulls up in like an old Honda Civic or something. But to not go down that lane, it's just kind of a just beaten. Now athletes can make money through the
Off their image. Yeah.
is it called what, NIL? Is that what it's called? I don't know what's I should
Something like
know as I put this down as something to
Yeah.
talk about. I like to research, but then like not really go into depth on anything.
That is kind of problematic, but you know.
Just headlines and then just talk about it confidently is like I know what I'm doing. Name, image, and likeness. That's what it stands for. Oh, I didn't even know that's what it stands for.
Well, I was just going along with you, but I knew they could use their name and their image and their likeness.
Yeah, because that's what NIL stands for. Well, anyways, Bronny was his valuation was 7.2 due to Nike Beats.
What does that even mean, man? Evaluation.
It's because of his sponsors, Nike Beats and PSD underwear. And then what Livy Dunn's net worth is worth $3.5 million according to the NIL in July. Well, the reason I bring that up is it's kind of the whole thing is basically run based on your image in the sense of not okay. I always say it's in the name. It's based on your social media presence, is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is based on how active you are and what kind of content you're making. That's going to drive up your net worth, depending on if you.
We should just make
popped off or not.
We should just make a like a bench warmer for some kind of like a D3 team, just insanely popular on social media.
That'd be sick.
Just for the fun of it, and see what happens with their sponsorship, or find someone that's
sick.
Find someone that's worthy of just like, okay, this is the person everyone needs to go follow. Let's go, and then he just starts posting, or she starts posting stuff.
That would be sick. Just some like millionaire sitting on the bench for a D2 like D2 baseball team.
Yeah, everyone's upset with him. It's like, oh yeah, and they just stay on the bench. That's not has nothing to do with their
skill level or anything.
Skill level. Obviously, they're going to be relatively skilled as they're playing on a college team, or
but like
they're still on the bench. You're on the bench. You're on the bench.
You're on the bench. You're on the bench. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got on that. Let's go into the deeper parts.
I have a question for you. This is something slightly different.
Okay.
When you were at Louisville, did you ever like think about trying out for a team? Were you on like the club soccer team or whatever?
No.
No? Did you want to be?
No.
Were you good at soccer?
I was pretty good at soccer, yeah. Yeah.
I want to see some stats, man. You got some like old.
No, but
actually, wait. Let me back up. Let me back up even more. What are soccer stats?
Soccer stats?
Yeah.
I mean, goals.
Okay.
Percentage of how long you have the ball, I guess. Passes.
So time
assists.
of possession.
Time of possession, yeah. Passes.
So passes and assists.
Assists, yeah. There's not much to really go on, I guess.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. Because, like, you know, there's, like, rebounds. There's, like, you know, hits in baseball. But, like, passes. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you made a bad pass, that's -1. Like, what does that mean?
I honestly don't watch enough professional soccer to tell you
I'm not talking about watching.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where
you played, man.
No one was keeping stats. It was like, did you score? How well did you do? I didn't really.
Well, like, how many goals did you score in high school, or did you play defense?
So I would
Defense or defense?
espresso,
Mm-hmm.
dex fence. Um, no, I honestly have no clue. I have some video footage. It's probably still at my
Oh, we
parents'.
gotta find that.
Okay, I'll
I
find it.
gotta watch that, man.
I can download. I've got some sick goals on that video actually.
Do you have like a mixtape?
It's
Like
a
a
mix. It's kind of a mixtape of the team that
That's
I'm highlighted in
crazy,
there.
dude.
Yeah, I've got. I know there. I remember one goal very vividly. The ball. I just like hit it off my chest and just volley it. Just a bomb.
That's sick.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't know stats.
Well,
That's
and
all I got.
the other reason I bring that up is my dad kept my stats religiously for baseball.
Nice.
Religiously. He was like, I have them in my head. I know exactly what you're doing, how you're pitching, how you're hitting, which was a little way too much for me, but it was kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah, stats wasn't really a thing. I just played. I mean, I was one of those athletes that when I played, sometimes I wouldn't even know what the score was. I was just going. I was like, "What was the score?" Okay, let's go.
That's crazy.
I was just in the zone, man. I
I
was
feel like that's
going.
a soccer thing, though, where you're just like, run. I'm
Get
running. I'm running.
the ball.
Yeah, I
Get the
know.
ball. No, that was about
Whatever.
it. It was I guess it was yesterday too. It was in class, and then for some reason it was on a video that I saw, and it was going over the whole concept of what's the hardest sport to play. And we won't go to we won't you won't get
Still
into it again.
baseball.
No, it's not the hardest. I can name five that are more challenging than baseball.
Oh, really?
The first one is Formula One racing. Okay, and we can go down this route if we really want to. So Formula One racing is
Huh?
definitely one of the top ones. It's a sport. It's definitely
I'm not
considered.
saying
Yeah,
it's not a sport.
Formula One definitely up there. Wrestling, MMA fighting. I had several actually on the top of my head. So there's three for sure. There's already three that are more challenging. Boxing probably two. Mm-hmm.
I just disagree.
All right, that's fine. We're not gonna go down that road. But we're gonna go
I
down.
kind of want to. Fair enough.
The reason I bring that up is because before we got on the podcast, I had a little bit of time, so I'm writing this script for a video that I'm putting out, and I have the best idea. I'm gonna do one and see what happens. But a lot of the videos that I do, if you kind of not necessarily anger people, but if you divide people, the comment
It's true.
section gets a lot of
No,
fun.
it's true. It's true.
And the first one I'm going to put out, as I was writing the script, I was like, I've put this in a longer video before, but I've never really done it in a short one. And it's going to be something along the lines of the first one will be, if you took 100 random athletes from each of these sports, which ones would be the fastest, blah, 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 kind of like thing. And then not explain mine and see where people go.
The fastest.
So
Just like
in the
generally.
script, yeah. So in the script, I'll read it off here. And this is going to change a little bit in the short form content, but it was just like what stemmed the idea is if you take 100 athletes, then let's say they participate in track, soccer, football, volleyball, or bowling. Which ones
Bowling, dude.
of them would be in the top 20 in that sprint? And I think it would actually accordingly go in that order. I think that you'd have the most from track, and then soccer, then football, then volleyball, then bowling. And it's just that's going to be the lane I'm going to go into it for a couple of videos of competing sports against each other.
I like that.
In the comment section. We'll see. We'll see
How it goes.
Yeah, well, you'll see the videos. They'll be up.
It's
I have to
true.
film them. I have no short form videos filmed right now. All right, let's go on to movies.
Movies. What movie you want to talk about?
Interstellar.
Why is this being brought back up? I know it was sort of a discussion on Sunday, but
Yep.
And you want to just continue this discussion?
Yeah, on Sunday.
All
What did I say about it on Sunday?
I don't know. We were just talking about our favorite movies, and you're like, Interstellar's got to be on there, man.
Yeah.
And then I guess that was sort of the whole, but
okay.
It was brought up.
Yeah. So we did it on Sunday. That was fun. We had to finish that up
fun.
actually. On Sunday, our little group of 6 of us, when we get on Discord and play games, we did something a little different when we picked out 5 of our favorite movies, TV shows, and then the couples try to kind of guess the other people's, and we did point system. Laura and I are in last right now, though.
Yeah, but it's tight. It's not like you're not significantly in last. It's like 2 points.
I'm excited for everyone to try to guess my music. I am.
Oh my god, dude.
The music's going to be
And
really
music's going to
challenging.
be all over the place.
The music's going to be crazy challenging. Maybe we should just cheat. No, I'm just kidding. They'll never know. All right, what is your top?
I'm not telling you.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I want to win.
I want.
We're in the lead.
So Interstellar, it was on my top list of
Yes.
one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm just always bringing content from other content. There was a video that I saw. There's a podcast that I listened to.
We need to like go outside. I think just like learn some stuff. You know?
Hey, I'm gonna go outside after this. The new thing I've been doing with Kylo is I take tennis balls and just beam them as far as I can. It's working out really well. He loves
it. That sounds about like the level of learning we're into.
Now that I've done it enough, and I know my elbows are gonna be okay with hitting and my shoulder.
Dude, I had some crazy tennis elbow when I played baseball.
It hurts.
I know that sounds weird, but like my elbow was messed up from baseball.
Yeah, it's not fun. So I knew when I first started doing it, I guess like a week ago. I've been doing it a lot, like almost every other day, every day. Just that's his playtime as he walks away. And I wanted to make sure I didn't get tennis elbow, so I wasn't really hitting it that far, and I was changing, like hitting it from the bottom to the top. But now I'm like good to go.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see how. I mean, I'm hitting. I think I'm hitting them at least 70 yards. I think they're pretty far. Just bombing them. But some of the tennis balls are a little busted up because he chews on them. So I blame the tennis balls that I can't hit at 100. Okay, so I was watching a video. And on that video, they were talking about some of the best movies of all time. And the comment section was riddled with people saying that Interstellar is an overrated movie.
Okay. How do I want to approach this?
Do you want to approach it first, or you want me to approach it? Because I actually commented on one of them that was way up there. I don't comment on anything.
All right. Go for it, Mr. Commenter.
Okay. Interstellar as a movie, as far as the imagery, the storytelling, the acting, all of the general stuff that you look at when it comes to a movie, it's great. It's good. It's a great movie. But there's one concept, an overall arcing concept about that movie that it's almost like a message, or it is a message that I don't think a lot of people get. And let's see if you got this when you watched it. The overall arcing message of that movie, outside of it just being cool, is that the only thing that transcends time or important concept in life, or necessarily the meaning of life, in a lot of ways is based on love. Did you get that from the movie, or is that just completely like what?
No, I think I got it.
Okay. And I think when you put that in, and then you look at what the movie is, like, this movie's insane. You can't say it's overrated. They did it. They connected all these dots and pulled everything back to the future and this, all that, and it was great. So
I feel like the other message, though, is a little more complex than that.
Okay.
You're going to get it spoiled. It's like 10 years old now. So
yeah.
I feel like him at the end watching what he missed and like the almost level of regret that you see on his face, like almost shares a different message to me, because he was so convinced that his mission was so important to humanity, which it kind of was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was kind of vastly important to humanity, but he was like, the vibe I got was, actually, I don't care. I don't care about what I was doing and the importance of it, because I missed out on my own life, which I think is a weird message.
Okay.
Only because seemed like humanity needed this. So what's more important, my own feelings and my own life, or the quality of life for everyone?
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting like concept to mess with. And I'm not saying I think they did it really well. I'm just saying I think that is the more interesting emotion to play with.
Yeah.
Is my life more important than saving everyone else's?
Yeah. Well, when it kind of goes,
when you sacrifice everything.
yeah, the greater good of humanity kind of
Yeah.
idea. And but again, it just kind of goes back to when people are saying that that's overrated. It's like there's so many layers to the message of what you're saying or
Definitely.
what I got from it, and everything. It's like it's not an overrated movie.
Well, but here's what I'm going to say now.
Okay.
The term overrated in general, if you're at the top of the game, it's very easy to be overrated. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're saying it's one of the best movies ever, I get what you mean.
It's easy to be overrated.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just kind of a middle of the road movie, that's kind of a weird thing to say overrated. Or if you say overrated, then people are like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're at the top, it's much easier to be overrated.
Yeah. What's like it's like Oppenheimer. I mean, how many was it Academy Awards or what was it Golden? One of those awards. It recently just
Go ahead, keep going.
It just won so many awards, and I haven't watched the full thing.
Great movie.
Because I got 20 minutes in, and Lauren wanted to watch with me, so I was like, you know what, this movie. 20 minutes in, I was like, man, this movie is a movie. So I stopped it, and I want to watch it with her.
Movie for sure.
Yeah. So I stopped it, and we're gonna. I might try to get her to watch it this weekend because I really do want to see it. That movie is just like so much about it is just it's a movie. It's an experience. It makes you feel so many ways. I'm sure I haven't gotten to that many parts yet, but I'm only 20 minutes in. But even 20 minutes in, the way it's shot, the acting, the music, the transition, all of that stuff is just like, dang, really good.
I think it won 7 Oscars.
Oscars, that was the word.
Academy Awards is correct.
Okay.
They're the same thing.
Okay, cool. Academy Awards. Yeah, but that's I mean,
it's a movie, man.
Yeah, does that go in the top? Can you say that's overrated?
Probably. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think it went in a direction I wasn't expecting, which I appreciate about movies.
Oh, does it?
I mean, the message it is expected, but at the same time, it like hit heavier because of the way that they portrayed the message that they're trying to share. If that makes sense.
No, that's cool. I'm excited to.
You'll like
watch
it.
that thing. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. We watched a couple more episodes of Avatar too, which it's been good. Cool with
it was. I think overall it was pretty solid. Like, there's not much more I can complain about, as far as the acting is what it is, right? And that's kind of my only complaint, honestly. Some of the character arcs are a little weird to me as far as the casting and the way that the director / actress wants to play this character, right? I'm not a big fan of Azula's character. I think she is very different from how she was in the cartoon version. And I personally don't like that. But maybe they were intentionally doing a different direction. So
yeah, some of those changes they have.
It's just my opinion.
Some of the changes they have done, I thought was pretty cool. But then also, I think I'm annoying Lauren sometimes when I'm watching and be like, "No, why do they do that? They changed that." And one of the ones was the inventor guy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were just going to gloss over that very quickly, and then they came back. I was like, "Oh, thank God," because it's so important to this story. In hindsight, when you first watch the show, you don't know how important that guy is, but he is very important to.
He is very important.
The end of the series. I won't ruin that at all, but yeah, he's very important. It's like, don't just gloss over. Well, I also saw something. I don't know how true this was, but I'm going to say it anyways because I research everything before we have conversations in this podcast. It was a video that I saw.
And I don't. I show up and wing it.
No, I'm being sarcastic. We literally just hit record and go at this point. We're winging.
Pretty much.
But
we're just two guys yapping. You heard that term?
Yeah.
You too much? Okay. I just didn't know.
Okay.
Sometimes you're boomer and sometimes you're Gen Alpha, man. I don't know where to put you. Okay.
Gen Alpha is even younger than you.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground for me. I'm not even a boomer. I'm just kidding.
I know you're not.
Yeah. They said they're not gonna make Toph blind.
What?
I know. I don't know.
What?
It was because they don't want to be rude to a community. The guy was like, basically, if you don't make her blind, you're being rude. That's
Yeah,
part of
because
her
like,
character.
yeah, I,
I hope it's not true, and it could have just been a one-off guys making up stuff, but
yeah, I
that would
hope
be
that's
wild.
not true because I honestly feel that way, and obviously I am not a part of the blind community, but I feel like a character in a very mainstream show being blind seems like a very significant thing to maintain, you know. But whatever.
Whoa, Google it,
What? What are you, dude?
dude.
We're
Google it.
we're sitting in tough casting Netflix.
Well, they
What do you
haven't.
What do you want me to Google? You're saying Google it, and
Okay,
is
Google.
Toph gonna be blind?
Yes, is Toph going to be blind?
Oh God,
It might be true.
is it just confirmed?
It says it will not be in season 2.
Yeah. Well, that also says
Yes.
TikTok.com.
Yeah.
So
Well, the other one didn't say that because I
okay.
typed it in 2 different ways. Either way, well, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's a terrible decision if they make her not blind.
She's one of the most loved characters of the show.
She's
What are we doing?
insane. She's so sick. She is so sick.
Well, what are we doing? What are we doing, Netflix? I don't know. We'll see.
Whatever.
We shall see. All right. Do you have any fitness questions for me?
Actually, I was trying to think of some yesterday, and I didn't have any because I haven't been to the gym since last time we talked. So
Nice. Well,
I'm so bad, dude. Like, I feel like one day I'm gonna look down and be like, "Oh, I've gained 50 pounds. Maybe I should do something about it." You know?
yeah, I don't
I
know.
feel like that's gonna happen to me. I don't know.
You gotta be eating a lot of food.
True.
You gotta be
That's
eating a lot
true.
of food.
I don't think I eat that much
Yeah,
anymore.
you're like a eat one kind of big meal kind of guy, like 1 or 2, right? Like you're not a
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I snack sort of, but also maybe this sounds terrible, but I'm kind of poor right now, so my meals aren't that big, and then also I snack to help fill up the meal from what it was lacking.
Oh no. Just shoveling down.
It's not even I'm not like hungry or starving. So please no one take it that way. That is not the case. I just don't eat as big of portions as I used to
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
because I have to pay for them. And I don't want to pay for them.
It changes when you gotta pay.
And
Chicken
I also
only.
have to cook it, man. I also have to cook. I'm tired of cooking, okay? I'm tired of cooking.
Now you guys know why when you guys came over, I was cooking all the time.
Yeah, dude. I'm tired of it, man.
That's why I
and
cook.
like and the thing is, I like complex meals. I don't like taking 2 hours to cook something, man.
No, I got you. It was like this past Sunday where I mean I cooked for way too long, but it's like I made 2 complex meals that they're so
Yeah,
good.
dude. It
They're
just
so good.
and like I want to make that kind of stuff. I don't want to spend 2 hours on it. I
Yeah.
refuse to spend longer than an hour. And if I look up at the clock and it's been an hour, I get so upset.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
like,
get you.
oh, I've wasted an hour of my life just standing here.
Yep.
Just like pushing things in the pan a little bit, you know.
Chopping up stuff. What's
God, man.
I mean, I even cooked when I cook on Sundays. Those meals, stuff I've done before, so I'm not really looking at a recipe. I'm going, but it just takes time when you're doing
Yeah, I know.
like ropa
It
vieja.
bothers me, man.
I actually have a new meal that I cooked this past weekend. Holy cow!
What is it?
I take ground chicken, and then it was a combination of a couple of TikTok videos that had bookmarked of making Chick-fil-A's grilled chicken recipe
Okay.
into like patties and making it into like almost, dude, it tastes like Chick-fil-A's grilled chicken on steroids.
Yeah, but I don't like their grilled chicken, so
Yeah, I can get
it's
that.
stinky, and I've had it one time, and it was. Yeah.
Well, take the stink out and the weird texture, and that's what these things are. Because it's ground chicken. You do a little bit of grated butter, so it puts a little bit of fat into it, and then you put the seasoning and then pickle juice, and you let it marinate for 30 minutes, and you
That's
make it
cool.
into like a ball, and you roll it into cornstarch, and then you make it into a patty, and then you cook it. Dude, they're so
That
good.
makes sense. I could see how that does sound pretty good. No, that's also why we cook like jambalaya every other week because it is a 35-minute meal.
One pan, one pot.
Yeah, one
Boom.
pot. I cut the sausage, I cut the onion, I cut the green pepper, I throw it in there, I cut the garlic, I throw it in there and leave it alone for 25 minutes.
Yeah, it is nice. It's a good
So
quick
it's
meal.
10 minutes, if that, of prep. And then I don't touch it for 25 minutes and then I eat.
Yeah. Good old meal prep.
I hate cooking. Don't cook, kids. Eat
I
out. Spend all your money. Spend all your money. Go to McDonald's every day.
It's the only meat that's not crazy expensive is chicken. If you go
exactly.
like chicken's like $2.99, $3.99 a pound, and then you go to beef, it's like double, and then you get to steak, it's like 5 times. It's like what?
Oh, 100%. We bought strip steak. Now we're just complaining.
It's fine.
Complaining.
It's okay. Keep going.
You all better listen to the end, okay? We bought strip steak the other day. $16 a pound.
Yeah.
$16 a pound, dude. Now, obviously, it made plenty of servings, kinda, but like, I don't know, it made 6 servings, which is like fine, priced out per serving, but like, dude, that is crazy expensive.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison, whenever I look at, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get a flank steak for my ropa vieja this week, and then I look at the price of the chicken, and I'm like, I can get 5 pounds of chicken, 6 pounds of chicken for the same price. It's like I'm getting chicken,
dude. And we've been on the chicken thigh grind, which is even cheaper. It's like $2 a pound.
Yeah, chicken thighs are. I mean, they taste better, and they don't dry out.
So much better. They taste so much better to me.
They're a little bit fattier, but you can kind of trim some of it off, and they don't dry out nearly as like you can really dry out chicken.
Definitely, definitely.
All right, I do have a gym thing, and then we're out of here.
All right,
Jim's. It's not
you
even
have something today.
It's not even really a gym story, but it's kind of funny. So over at Crunch, they did some renovations. So they like blew out a wall and they had this new room and
where'd they take the wall out?
Yeah, so when you go past the bathrooms, you know the door that came down,
garage thing.
Yeah. So to the right, there's like a hallway.
Yeah.
And then it goes into just another room.
Oh, okay.
That they took all of the squat racks and they put them in there. So that room is basically all leg stuff, and they added some new equipment. And then here's the crazy. I guess this is I don't think I talked about this yet. On the back wall there's nothing but dumbbells now. So you know where that squat rack was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from end to end, that wall is probably, I would say it's 50 yards. It's pretty long. I mean, it's 50 yards and it's nothing but dumbbells. But here's the issue. There's a ton of benches now. And on the far left side, there's like the 5s, 10s, 15s, 20s. The lighter weights are all the way on the other side. So you could be benching 30 yards over here. And in order to go get the lighter weights, you have to walk so freaking far. So because of that issue of them having someone with OCD rack these things. So there's like, now there's the amount of 30s they have, for example. There's probably, I don't know, 15, 30 or 16, 30-pound dumbbells that take up a long length. And so now that people are annoyed about having to do that, the dumbbells are all messed up. And it's wild. But that's not my story. So with the expansion, they had the fire department there a couple of times and the fire alarms are going off and no one pays any attention to it. They're just checking it, whatever.
Okay.
Well, on Wednesday, I guess it was Wednesday. No, Tuesday. On Tuesday, I'm working out. I'm on my last thing, got my headphones in, and the fire alarms start going off. It's pretty packed in there, just fire alarms.
People are just not looking.
No one moved. Not even an inch. They were going off for 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes.
No way, dude.
No one moved. And then the trainers and everyone started, everybody's got to get out. We got to go, get out of the building. And no one's panicking. Everyone's just leaving. And and I was like, you know what? I'll just go to Edge and finish my workout. Bunch of people waiting. I'm like, you guys are going to be waiting forever. You have to wait for the fire department to get here before you're going to be able to go back in. And in hindsight, they actually did have a small fire apparently. And they were closed down.
Crazy, dude.
I don't know where, but
was it in like a microwave or something?
No clue. But Lauren tried to go there the next morning, and there was 2 cars there, and it said closed till further notice. And one of my athletes I train, he was trying to go to, and all this other stuff. So they had a little fire. I'm going there later today. Hopefully they're open, but
probably not.
That's fitness. That's the
all
workout.
burned down. That was nothing though. That wasn't fitness. That was just a story that took place in a gym, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, whatever. See y'all in 2 weeks. Good luck with your brackets. I hope they're perfect. If they're not, well, you know.
Yeah.